We are getting settled. If everybody could please silence your devices, so we can have your full attention to our wonderful speakers. Namaste, everyone, and welcome to this session of Hindu Women's Network Conference. My name is Jaya Asthana. I live in Massachusetts, USA, but my heart is in Bharat, where I was born. I am a Karyakarta of Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America. In Massachusetts, I was the secretary of the Massachusetts chapter, and I have been running Bal Vihars for over 30 years, and various other activities in Massachusetts. Thank you. It is my extreme pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this segment of the Hindu Women's Network Conference. I would like to introduce our chairperson for this session. Our chairperson her name is Sushri Arushi Tiwari. Arushi is currently pursuing a PhD in mechanical engineering at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign in the USA. With her family's involvement with Vishwa Hindu Parishad and her upbringing spanning two diverse countries, Bharat and the US, her worldview has been profoundly influenced. I'm sorry. I'm a little technologically challenged and my phone is acting up. So she was born in the US and moved to Bharat. So her upbringing has spanned two diverse countries, Bharat and the USA. As a result, her worldview has been profoundly influenced. Additionally, she is a regional coordinator for Hindu Yuva, a Hindu student organization in the US that is linked with the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh. These experiences have provided her with a distinctive perspective on community engagement and underscored the crucial role of narratives in our endeavors. On a personal note, I have known Arushi since she was a baby, and I have seen her blossom into the beautiful young woman inside and out that she is today. And please keep an eye on her. When we are long gone, she is going to be our leader. Arushi? While she's coming, I would also like to welcome our eminent speakers to the dais, Nirmal Kaur ji, Gayatri Devi ji, and Maria Worth ji. Could you also please come? And Arushi, it's all yours.
So, welcome to session 4, where the session 4 is about views and voices of Hindu women in media. Media has shaped opinions of the masses since times immemorial. What people think contributes significantly in the growth of empires and their destruction. New civilizations and cultures evolve from the way people perceive different things. And so media is one of the most important components of society. And so therefore, I'm very happy that you guys decided to sit through this session today. I am actually the first speaker, apparently. So I will be talking about narratives and terminologies and their importance in today's world and how to effectively build narratives. So let's start by understanding what a narrative is. According to dictionaries, a narrative is a story that can be true or false. It could be true or fictitious. And it is a way of presenting information so that it supports different types of points and perspectives. So please understand, Harvard School of Design says narratives neither recount things as they really happened, nor reveal the true meaning of artifacts, cultures, and lived experiences. So if narratives don't promote the objective truth, why are they considered so important? Well, the modern Western philosophy believes that since any information that we understand, we process it with our own biases. And so what we think is the truth is actually our perspective through those biases. And so therefore, the West focuses greatly on narratives and believes that to form a good opinion on any subject, we should include narratives from all different people. And it is so important that many universities teach narratology, which is the study of how narratives impact the society. And Harvard recommends their narrative courses to journalists, political leaders, advocacy groups, and activists. Yet, as Hindus, do we study narratology? Do we study how to build narratives? Or are we already good at it? Let's take a look at narratives surrounding women in popular media. While women in Saudi Arabia are free, modern Indian women are burdened to be female. While the hijab has nothing to do with oppression, it's a feminist statement. Karwa Chauth and Raksha Bandhan, no matter how you celebrate it, is not a feminist choice. While the Prophet empowers women and Islam provides equality in their society, Hinduism is inherently sexist. While women can seek diverse paths to leadership in Islamic spaces, Hindu women are not equal to men unless they are doing the exact same thing as Hindu men are doing. These are the current popular narratives in non-Hindu communities. So how do we, especially as Hindu women, build strong narratives? Let's take an example. The middle poster, Caste of Merit, was presented in Delhi University. It was posted for a talk. And what happened behind this was that there was a student in IIT Bombay who belonged to a lower caste community and unfortunately had committed suicide. There were two reasons floated for this incident. One was his academic records, which were going down. And the second was that he was being bullied by a Muslim student who identified himself as a higher caste. The bullying had nothing to do with caste, but this was the narrative that was spread across Bharat. If you look at the poster, you see a sadhu holding a talwar, a sword. And with the sword are connected strings who control the Bharatiya parliament. And he is asking all the Ekalavyas to present their thumbs to be chopped off. And all the Dalit students who really want higher education are presenting their thumbs. One thumb has already been chopped off, and blood oozes out of the mutilated hand. What sort of story is this telling? The Ekalavya narrative has been used again and again by leftist and Islamic ideologues to prove that Hinduism not only has anti-feministic roots, but is inherently sexist. So let us try to understand. Sorry, I said feministic. I meant casteist. So let us look at this story, the Ekalavya story that we all popularly know. In Mahabharata, actually, the real story is very nuanced. So Ekalavya was a son of a very powerful Nishad king. And the Nishad king's power rivaled that of the Magad Empire. And he was very close friends with Jarasandh. So when he approached Dron for his shiksha, Dron refused because of his political allegiances. Despite that, Ekalavya continuously spied on his teachings and tried to steal knowledge. And one time, when he was finally caught, he was dressed as a bhil. At that time, Dron again asked about his allegiances with Jarasandh, and he confirmed Dron's belief. And that is when Dron asked Ekalavya to sacrifice his thumb. Now, this story is very nuanced and has many different perspectives from different people. But the popular story is not this. So what makes the popular story so strong? How are we supposed to create so strong narratives, such as the Ekalavya story that we hear today, that we almost respect him? Well, strong narratives are short and simple. No one reads 200-page books to understand a perspective. They need short and simple communication. It has to be power-packed punches. The narratives today that survive are pro-oppression. They are emotional. They provide a sense of justice, good versus evil, black versus white. and facts and logic is less important. And most importantly, terminologies are very effectively used to push narratives. Terminologies in today's society trigger emotional responses. Some popular terminologies existing today are secularism, inclusion, diversity, and freedom. While on the other side, it's patriarchal, Brahminical, casteist, bigot, Hindutva, who trigger negative emotions. And we also, as Hindus, have created some terms, such as pseudo-secularism, urban Naxals, love jihad, commie. But all of these terms that we have created are not consciously. They have happened on media platforms, such as X or Facebook. And there are not a lot of words that we use to characterize ourselves. There's a lot of words that other people use to tell who we are, but we don't have any of our own terminologies. So to use terminologies effectively, we have to use correct terms. We have to globalize the meaning of those terms. If we use them in Hindu society ourselves, there is no point. And we have to create new terms. So, for example, when we talk about gender issues, we refer to women as aurat in multiple Bharatiya languages. And aurat, it has Persian and Arabic roots, which means genitals, nudity, and imperfection. And obviously, when that is the way you look at women, you will ask them to cover up. But as Hindu society, we don't see ourselves that way. So why do we propagate this term? We should use terms like mahila. Mahatte iti mahila. She who is honored and respected is mahila. And using the word aurat, we can use auratification to imply sexual objectification. For example, the hijab makes a mahila into an aurat, implying that hijabization is objectification. So another example is dharm versus mazhab. Mazhab is a set of beliefs emanating from some book, whereas dharm relates to logic and reason-based responsibilities. So when we go from being Hindu to following Islam or Christianity, we are not going from a dharmic institution to another dharmic institution. We should not use dharmantaran to explain that. We should use mazhabization. Matantaran conversion should not be used in those contexts. And using and interplaying the words of dharma and mazhab, we can amplify the distinction in the masses, provoke the listener to understand the differences. Last example is tukre-tukreism. So tukre-tukreism, we love that word because we have used it so extensively through Twitter and all sorts of different platforms. But we can actually use tukre-tukreism and contrast it with ekatmata, imply that people who believe in tukre-tukreism oppose the unity of Bharat. They practice politics of division on based of caste, creed, language, religion, country, and align with those who want to divide society and country. And finally, people who support tukre-tukreism, the leftists or the communists, they eventually want one tukra, one selfish part to themselves. And we have to really universalify the meaning of this word. So for example, Nazi referred to one specific political group originating in Germany. But now, when we don't like someone, we call them a Nazi. So we have to really expand our vocabulary and allow these terms to take a greater meaning. So lastly, going forward, we need women to share their narratives. When a man from the Hindu community says, oh, Hindu women are not oppressed, they're doing fine, my mother does this, my sister does that, that's all great. But when a woman says that she is empowered, that is very different. On the same side, when we talk about Hindu women facing atrocities because of being Hindu, when men talk about it, it's not that impactful. Women should talk about women issues, and all other issues actually, not just that. And so narratives that we build should not always also focus on being defensive. If we're always defending, we will either protect our boundaries or we will lose. But if we're striking, we can gain ground in the narrative field. And finally, we should use and create terminologies effectively. And we should use narratives and terminologies to address key points of contention. What are the hot topics in today's society? Religious bigotry, conversion, intolerance, treatment of women, and national unity. So with that, I would like to conclude my talk, and I am going to thank you. With that, I'm going to introduce Nirmala Karji. She is a police service officer of 1983 batch from Bharat. She has spent over 40 years working in Bihar, Jharkhand in various capacities, and finally worked as the Director General of Police. She has conducted and disseminated extensive research underlying Granth Sahib as an accessible expression of Vedantic philosophy provided for the masses in their bhasha or language. She is working on emphasizing the basic unity of Sarna worship in tribals and Chota Nagpur and Sanatan way of life, bringing out commonalities between the two. She writes on subjects and topics interest with an endeavor to correct the skewed perceptions created by the media. Thank you.
I'm very happy to be here amongst you this morning, and it's my privilege and honor to be standing here to talk to you all about media perceptions, how media is shaping our perceptions. You know, media is ever growing. Like earlier we had newspapers or radio, then came the TV, all those, bombardment. Earlier we had only 2 or 3 channels in India. One channel, in fact, to begin with for decades, Doordarshan. Then many channels came in, then the concept of paid news, sponsors, all that came in, even in the newspapers. And then now we have this social media, alternate media. I mean, sky is the limit. Now you can do anything. On YouTube, you are sitting somewhere in an apartment in Manhattan or in some, thanks to the internet, accessibility of internet, you are sitting in a hut somewhere in Chota Nagpur, and you can flood the internet with any information. So media has come to enjoy tremendous power. Earlier, when you had battles in the early times, it would be, the manpower. Then came the horsepower, elephants, how many horses the army has, the conflicting armies. Then came arsenals, banduke hain, guns hain, then came mortars, then came big cannons, tope badi badi aayi, nuclear weapons aaye. But the war now today is really a war of, you can say, thought, ideologies, of media. War is going to be won by what the media, the perceptions created by medias. Those have become much more important than the artillery you own or the size of your army or your defense budget or whatever, you name it. So it is a war of thoughts which has to be fought on the street. It cannot be fought now in an organized manner or in certain designated places. It is everywhere, everywhere. And women, I'm so happy to be part of this women conference because women have a pivotal role to play. Earlier speakers also stressed on the thing. In our culture, we don't see men and women as competitors, unlike the West. There's a sense of competition. We see them as cooperation, cooperative beings. जैसे हमारे यहाँ जो भी concept है, in Purans itself, it is written शास्त्रों में, the oldest शास्त्रा से, कि पुरुष की मुक्ति नारी के आशीर्वाद के बिना संभव नहीं है. There are 4 purusharths. Dharma, arth, काम, मोक्ष. Moksha is the highest purusharth. Highest attained thing which a human soul comes here in the world to attain is moksha, mukti. तो मुक्ति possible ही नहीं है till a woman blesses you. Because चाहे आप जंगल जाइए, कितनी तपस्या कीजिए, युगो कुछ भी कीजिए, but without the blessings of a woman, you cannot get it. So you see our gods, we don't have single gods. राम है तो सीता जी हैं साथ में, कृष्ण है, राधा जी हैं, शिव हैं, पार्वती हैं. So we have not, in our culture, we do not see, we do not have this concept of a single male hierarchy or that God is male alone. In fact, the most powerful thing is our feminine power only. Shakti, Ma Durga is seen as the most powerful thing, which is the essence of all primordial power. Everything, that is Durga, that is Ma Shakti in all her rupas. So we essentially, feminine has been given a very high place in our, things which are sacred to us in our entire thing. So we don't really need to fight, go out on streets and say, वो जो typical जो feminism है West का, oh, we need votes. We are equal voters in the country ever since Constitution came. We did not had to go through those suffragettes and all that. We've been, in fact, our Constitution is a heaven of gender justice. If you see the Indian Constitution, and so many affirmative actions like in the morning, the reservation even in Parliament, which is now being stipulated and has been passed into an act, which is going to come into effect in the next 5 years or so. That is being talked about. That has become an act. That has become a law. So I would say that women as women, we do not have a bad deal in India. And another thing is, like we talk a lot about literacy, about education, about information. Now, education, literacy, information, I would say it's very easy to make people literate, but it's very difficult to make them educated. Now, how do we differentiate literacy and education? Very quickly, if I had to differentiate it, I would say that education is then when what is learnt is forgotten. You know, what you've learnt in school or in college, in otherwise in life, when you forget that, what remains is your education, the person you've become, your mind, how you imbibe information, what are the basic structures on which your ideas are built. You know, your sanskar. In our Sanskriti, we have many sanskars. You know, we are a sanskar-based Sanskriti. We are not ki kuch bhi hua. And sanskars shape us, and there are 16 of them. Mind you, I mean, when I am very sure my father's favorite was that every child in the world is born a Hindu. You don't become a Christian unless you're baptized. Does my child need baptization? He doesn't need to be baptized to become a Sikh or Hindu or whatever. You are a Hindu, you're born a Hindu. So it's an eternal Sanatan way of just being, nature. So you're born a Hindu, and everyone's born a Hindu. Then you choose to become a Christian if you are baptized. And then Muslims also, they have all kinds of, you know, they have Akika, they have this. You choose and you accept your faith. All those ceremonies, we have nothing. All our ceremonies are rites of passage, if you see. गर्भाधान से लेके आप मृत्यु तक देख लें, श्राद्ध तक देख लें, there are 16 sanskars. They are all basically rites of passage. Means as the time passes, when the child is conceived, you have that garbhadhan. You know, when the child comes to an age where he can take some semi-solid food, you have annaprashan. Similarly, you have rites for going to school, for everywhere. When you go to those sanskaras, you see the sanskaras, they are tied with the cycle of life. They are not tied with human choices. Life as it has been ordained by nature itself, by God itself. So rites of passage, when you become a certain age, you imbibe that. I do have a few slides. I would run through them quickly, but I think slides basically are theoretical knowledge which everyone in the room already knows, but still we'll take a couple of minutes because the time given to me is so low. I mean, to everyone for that matter, I've not been... media has favorite viewpoints. And now what is media? Media is even Indian media. In India, what has happened, I live in Bharat. I shouldn't have said Indian, I'm sorry. Bharat mein kya hua hai? You know, we've had this secularism, pseudo-secularism. Ever since the... क्या हुआ, you know, when we got independence, भारत के दो टुकड़े हुए, पाकिस्तान चले गए उधर, जिसमें मुसलमानों को about 31 to 33% of the land was given. Divided. And then rest was for Hindus and Sikhs. They came to this side. और उसके बाद क्या हुआ कि then मारकाट हुआ, दंगे हुए इधर से उधर. आप देखिए जैसे अभी Hamas, what happened between Hamas and the Israeli forces, the women that were violated in the Pakistan Bharat migration at that time, 1947, that was much more. Hindus did not violate their women. Same as today, Israel is not violating their women. They have violated women, they have cut off pregnant ladies, they are violating women, gang raping them. All this, and the number of girls that were took away. Today also, I would say, as we just talked, you woke up in the morning, we all had a very healthy breakfast in Bonhomie. We are all full of camaraderie, holding this conversation here. In a nice sanitized environment. I'm sure at least 5 to 10 girls in Pakistan, Hindu girls, have been kidnapped forcibly. Many of them minors as old as 7 or 8, not even very old. So I have to be very quick. My points, coming back to media, the economics of media, content display sponsored and paid for, manipulation, fake news is very rampant. Can you quickly go through the slides? There's hardly any time. This gullibility of audience, which impacts our perceptions. Media reporting sees a subordinate role for the audience. Media is manipulating you. You're being manipulated by the media all the time. You're an object for them, a commodity which is to be manipulated to get the desired results. News value and truth is subjugated to sensationalism, maximizing leadership. Ma'am, can you quickly run through them? The time is so short. I'm sure these presentations you'll all get, so these points I don't need to repeat. Just very quickly, here's a very important point, Now these days in Bharat, there's a lot of clamor in Bihar. You have also had the caste census. Bihar mein ho bhi chuka hai. When they have 200 or some columns for castes amongst Hindus. I know one because I myself filled up a form. And then in Muslims, they have only one caste, Muslim. Though the fact is that Muslims में भी जो रोटी बेटी का रिश्ता है उनका, they are as much casteist as the ancient Hindu society was. पुराने ज़माने में जो किताबों में पढ़ते हैं, वास्तव में हमने नहीं देखा कि इतनी कास्ट का कोई फ़र्क है वहाँ समाज में. पर वहाँ पर 72 कास्ट हैं, मेरे गांव के आसपास भी, जो मेरा गांव है वहाँ बिहार में, और 72 उनके फ़िरके हैं, 72 उनके जने हैं, 72 कास्ट डिविजन्स और वट एवर यू कॉल देम. कलार है, दर्जी है, अंसारी है, वीवर है, ये कुंजड़ा है, बहुत सारे, कुर्मी भी उनके यहाँ 2-3 टाइप के हैं. बट नीतीश गवर्नमेंट ने जो फॉर्म वहाँ छपवाए, उनमें मुस्लिम के लिए एक ही बात लिखनी है, मुस्लिम. और हिंदू है तो कास्ट के बाद सब कास्ट और सब कास्ट, कितने डिविजन. ये दे आर ट्राइंग टू डिवाइड हिंदू सोसाइटी so that we remain divided. And this is the just one point I'll make very quickly, my time is over. The soft power of the media. These days in India, in Bharatvarsh at least, lots of guys are watching these Pakistani soaps. If you see on YouTube, 7 million views, 20 million views, 23 million views. And there, even see these soaps like Artrugul, if you've seen. Those are those pious fictionalization, where, their feminism, the women are presented in a very good light. In a very good light, being a woman or being if you see, if you have time, do watch at least one of the Pakistani soaps. And I think they are contributing a lot to this love jihad, the phenomena we have in India. I have to talk about 2 more things, maybe I'll come back in questions. The love jihad, and the one more thing is how the illegal immigration is affecting us. As a woman, I would like to talk about them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nirmal Kaurji, so much. I am now going to call the next speaker, Srimati Gayatri Devi ji. She is the CEO of Alternate Media in Zambia. Gayatri Devi is a researcher, a lawyer, and an educator in differences rather than equality of gender. She completed her law degree from Delhi University. She has taught in the university in Africa. She believes Africa and Bharat are similar with respect to cultures and traditions. Through her channel, The Alternate Media, which has around 400,000 subscribers and 1 million viewership. Gayatri ji has been promoting pro-Hindu, pro-Bharat narratives across the world. Thank you.
I was raped, not once, multiple times. My son was thrown from a cliff. My daughter was sold to the highest bidder. My husband was cut into pieces. This is the story of millions of Hindu women who I represent today. If you think it happened only in the past, that's not true. Only the forms and structures have changed, but the story continues. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Gayatri Devi. I represent the Alternate Media. There is a dire need for the Hindu women to tell their stories. We are more compassionate, more intelligent, more caring, more loving, more coordinating, more cooperating, more good at networking. We need to come out and tell our stories. Till now, we have not been telling our stories, and the mainstream media, the NGOs, the human rights, the United Nations, and blah, 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 blah. They have failed to do that. Do you think the wars have never existed? Yes, the wars have existed. But the wars changed. The wars existed even in the Hindu times. But when the Islamic invasions happened, they targeted the Hindu women. Only the men came, leaving their women behind. They wanted our wombs for the womb jihad. They wanted to have babies from us so that they could produce the children and have a demographic change. This is what we have been going through. Raja Dahir, the Battle of Aror, that was one of the first Hindu rulers to fall down. His first wife committed Johar. Did we hear anything about that before? No. He had 2 daughters, Surya Devi and Piramal Devi. They were both paraded with their hands tied to the Middle East. Surya Devi and Piramal Devi, they were both presented to the Caliph by the Qasim, who invaded Sindh at that point of time. The battle which Dahir failed to stop, Surya Devi stopped. How? Qasim represented these 2 women as virgin women to the Caliph. Caliph was about to obviously rape them. Just then Surya Devi said, "Oh, I'm already spoiled, I'm not a virgin. Qasim raped us on the way." And the story changed. Caliph ordered the murdering of Qasim and his pieces were thrown across the city. When Surya Devi got to know, she told him, "Oh, I was just telling a lie. My revenge is done." Qasim could have invaded many more states, many more princely women would have committed Johar, but Surya Devi and Piramal Devi managed to stop that. Many princely states were saved. It is not about revenge, it is about emotions, which can be both ways, positive and negative. Johar, child marriage, ghungat, marriages in the night, education, everything went for a toss when this Islamic invasion went on. We are amplifiers. Give us anything, we'll amplify. You give us sperm, we give you child. You give us house, we give you home. This is how we are. We are amplifiers. Feelings of passion, emotion, commitment, revenge, love, care, everything you give us, we amplify. That is who we are. We are women. That is why we probably carry double X, the double X chromosomes. Our ability to, as I said, our ability to network, gather intelligence, build narrative, fight back is much higher than men. Much higher than men. That's why Chanakya had more women spies than men. Right from prostitution centers to workers to every household. That's how Chanakya worked. I do not believe in gender equality. I really don't believe. Equality is always among equals. Even the constitution says that. How can we be equal? They have XY chromosome, we have XX chromosome. Can they feed babies? Can they produce children? Then how are we equal? Can somebody tell me that? All this concept of feminism is nothing but a fake propaganda, which actually I don't believe in. We both genders have our importance. So by saying that, I do not mean that they have less importance. No, they have importance. We both need each other. So let's respect the differences rather than trying to pull down each other. Now we have men fighting also for their rights these days. Yeah. So alternate media, that's my channel. I believe in telling our stories. And I invite all the women here to please join me in this, in this struggle to build more narratives. Nupur Sharma had the courage to call out a fancy messenger that shook the democracies and disrupted the many diplomatic circles. She started a discussion that opened at least 1,000 eyes, not only in our communities, but in their communities as well. If we women don't come out, we are leaving a space. Let's slap each other. Is any time there an empty space? If we leave, people like Arfa Khanum, Rana Ayub, Arundhati Roy, they are going to take it. Am I right or wrong? So are we not leaving space for them? Why should we? Are we less than them? Don't we need to fight back? Are we not going to supposed to tell our stories? We have faced genocides after genocides. And not only the Akhand Bharat, but even in the existing India. What was Mopla? What happened in West Bengal even during the last elections? Who's going to tell those stories? Do we hear it in the media? No, because that media space has been occupied by these, I will not take the names. Sorry, I get abusive, and I have the right to get abusive. They can come and kill us, and I don't even abuse. By these people. Madam, please change the slide. Rana Ayub. Does she ever speak a word when a Hindu woman is being raped by thousands of Muslims or even by other people in Bengal? No, she will not dare open her mouth. I'm sure we have thousands of Jhansi Ki Rani, Kittur Chennamma, Doka Sitaraman, and Rani Rudrama Devi. We all have fires. We just need to come together, build together, help each other, coordinate, cooperate. I know it sounds big, but it's just not that big. It's just the emotions, as I said. It is all about emotions. The day we commit, and somebody just downstairs said, not Durga Mata. We need Kali Mata now. Let's be just that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pushpaji. Now we're going to invite Miss Maria Worth. We are honored to have her here. Her background is that she was actually traveling she stopped over to Bharat when she was en route from Germany to Australia. And she had finished her psychology degree from Hamburg University, and she landed up in the Kumbh Mela in Haridwar in April 1980. So she had darshan of Sri Anandamayi Ma and Devara Baba and realized what amazing wisdom Bharat has. She wanted to dive into this wisdom and never moved to Australia, and then never moved on to Australia. And she shared her insights in articles, books in German as well as English. Her articles on Hindu Dharma are in many magazines, anthologies, websites, apart from her blog. She is also active on Twitter and Quora, yeah. Her English book is titled Thank You, India. So please welcome to the dais.
Namaste. Can you hear me? Is it clear? Yeah. I hope you can also understand my pronunciation, because topic is articulating Hindu thoughts. And I am maybe good in articulating by writing, but I try also by speaking. So first, very important point, we need to articulate what is most essential, and we must articulate it clearly and honestly. And in my view, what impressed me most when I came to India, and what all sages basically say, is all is one. Brahman is all there is. Now, this is not an abstract concept. It means Brahman is really the essence in everything. I mean, we would need to reflect on this also. And basically, Hindu Dharma says, you are not what you think you are. You are one with Brahman. The Mahavakyas, you know them all. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atma Brahma. Pragyanam Brahma. One more. Yeah. So I feel we have to stress that in Hindu Dharma, there's an absolute level. Basically, Abrahamic religions say there's only one God, and they go to town and say, look, the Hindus have many, but we have only one God. But Hindus say there is only God. If you want to, I mean, Brahman is a very bad translation, God, but in the West, God is the highest. So in this sense, Hindus say there's only God, and the others say there's only one God. So this absolute level and the relative level, like Brahman Satya, Jagat Mithya, and we have to stress that this world is basically a play where we play our role. It's not Elon Musk who discovered that this is a Maya, that is simulation, but the Indian rishis. Now, this knowledge has impressed very much the Western, especially German philosophers, also scientists, like Erwin Schrödinger. He ended his lectures always with Brahma, Atma is Brahma. And this is now completely lacking from any, like, when you Google today, the 50 who are the greatest philosophers of all time, you will not get any single one Indian. Socrates is there, Chinese are there, but no Indian. And this knowledge is completely blacked out. Actually, up to even in the 70s, I know already, I was grown up, and in the 80s, Indian wisdom was appreciated and seen positively in the West, especially in Germany. Not mainstream, but in university circles, the bookshops were full of it. And this all disappeared in around 2000. I got a letter from an editor in 2000. I write about Hindu Dharma. And it said, as you must have noticed, I had not noticed, as you must have noticed, spirituality is out, wellness is in. And we want you to write not anymore about philosophy, but about yoga, about whatever. So I feel this was purposely, and we should find out the reason. There must be a reason behind it. It is too far now. I have a suspicion, but I don't know. Now the big misfortune is that many Indians don't know anymore this highest level. I keep asking youngsters, Hindu youngsters, and they all talk about we worship many gods. I asked, have you ever heard of Brahman, the one encompassing Brahman, behind all this, the one pure awareness? Pure means no thoughts. Pure awareness, I mean Sat Chit Ananda. So they haven't heard. And this is very serious, and there we have to do a lot of work. I thought even maybe flyers, just put it very crisply, this very basic knowledge of Hindu Dharma. And this is also very important because the Abrahamic religion, they see, when we say we worship many gods, and even we say, why should we care what other people think? I mean, we are worshipping many gods. Nothing wrong in worshipping many gods, but we have to make it clear that the devas are aspects of the one Brahman. If we don't make it clear, then they really say, you are idol worshippers, and we have to kill you. Because our God, that is the greatest sin, our God is jealous of other gods. And so I feel this knowledge is, I mean, we have to make it clear that it is wrong to see us that we worship many different gods. But it has led to genocide. No? 80 million Hindus were killed for believing that we are idol worshippers, and we should take this seriously. And really, I feel also to convey properly that the essence of Hindu Dharma, we need to do sadhana. Because if we just talk from the head, it won't help much. And we should also inspire, like 40 years ago when I was going on a train journey, I would see many women doing japa. Nowadays, you don't see it anymore. And this sadhana, now with the mobile is very difficult, but we have to ourselves and also encourage children, encourage youngsters to sadhana. So, and I feel we also, last point, we should let the world know that it is not acceptable that because Christianity and Islam misunderstand Hindu Dharma, that they teach their children hatred for us. Because it is dangerous for us, and it is not acceptable. How can religious freedom include the right to demean 1 billion people? And not only demean, but even having the right to kill them. So we should take it really serious, and many Hindus don't realize that those people might often really believe it, if they believe it. But nowadays there are also many who lost their faith, and I feel our endeavor should be that we seed doubt. Doubt is the only thing which can bring those people from, because many people want to get out. I wanted to get out of Christianity. It's not satisfying. And Islam is also not satisfying for many people. No? We don't know how many Muslims are not really Muslims anymore. But so I think we should, we should really put this forward. And in international forum, like now, Vishnu Shankar Jain told me yesterday, we cannot petition the United Nations for this because they have a charter for religious rights, but because a state has to petition. Whether India is ready to, majority are Hindus, majority of Indians are demeaned officially, whether we can petition or whether we go to court or whether it's, mainstream media is not taking it because they want to make the world forget about Indian wisdom. I'm convinced of this. So we are the only ones. Christians cannot take it up because Christians are also in the same mold. They are also saying we alone have to, everybody has to become Christian. So this, this is my points which I wanted to make. And I hope I mean, I'm better in writing, but you are good in speaking. Indians, I really admire. I have to say maybe one thing. When I was in school, we were not taught anything about giving a speech. I had never to give a speech. And the reason was because Hitler was such a good orator. And so they didn't want us to learn to speak. And I think Italians also, because Italians, they were with us. No? So, but Indians are really good. I admire. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Maria Ji. I mean, I've been practicing all night, so it just doesn't come naturally. And thank you so much. Your speech was wonderful. So I would quickly like to acknowledge and show appreciation to Srimati Pushpa Sarafji, who is present with us right now. They say, behind every successful man, there is a woman. So Sushil Sarafji is the chairperson and CEO of World Hindu Congress 2023. Srimati Pushpa Sarafji is the guide, mentor, and nurturer of all the volunteers and their families who have been working around the clock for the last month. Pushpaji, thank you for gracing us with your presence. Let us show our appreciation to Pushpaji. And please, everybody can give a round of applause. I know you have done it several times. And also, we also have Pushpaji's daughter-in-law present with us, who has been shouldering responsibility shoulder to shoulder. I would also like her to stand up. Prachiji, please stand up, and round of applause for her as well. Thank you so much. Okay, with that, we will open the floor to questions. Maybe we can go to the Mahila in the front.
Hi. So thank you very much. Good speeches. I just wanted to share a couple of things, if you allow. You know, it's not a question, but it will complete what everybody is saying here. I would just say that, question?
Hello, my name is Rama, and I'm teacher, professor in university in Thailand, and I teach augmented reality to children. So I hear in the lecture of Maria Ji about encouraging students and encouraging children to sadhana. And I also a disciple of Hindu temple, and I also very like the philosophy of Indian culture, and it's very deep and it's very beautiful. And I just thinking how to encourage my students to eat, because I cannot just openly, like in my lecture, right? I cannot just tell them something not about my subject, but I think how can I like delicate and very accurate put some information how to make it better. Maybe it's the question for Maria Ji, how to like proceed in that. Maybe you have some advices for me. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you?
Maybe you can summarize the question since she's standing there.
Yeah, so her question was that she is basically a teacher and she's requesting how can she, to her students, concisely ask them to start following the Hindu Dharma, right? Yeah,
I think
so
the
that's
best
what she
way
wants to
is,
say.
Practical example. I think children end up doing what you're doing rather than what you're asking them to do. What you say is not that important. What you do by conduct, by setting up example. You know, it's very easy to train children. Children are like, you know, you have this Play-Doh, kachi mitti, you can make anything. Children are like that Play-Doh, you can make anything out of them. There's this famous behavioral scientist, Skinner. He says, give me 100 children, 100 infants at birth. और मुझे बता दो, just tell me कि इसको बहुत बड़ा robber बनाना है. This guy has to be made into a scientist. This person into a, you know, whatever. You assign me roles for these 100 children. What you want them to be in life, and give me those 100 infants and my own world to raise them in, and I'll make them exactly what you asked me to. Number one is this. Socialization, how we raise children, that is very important. And the best way is theoretical knowledge, of course, but much more of your example, your conduct. You cannot tell anyone don't have sugar if you're yourself eating chocolates the whole day. It's like that.
I think Maria ji, can you also answer to that question?
This was meant for you. How to tell children. Yeah, I mean, I was very much impressed by the philosophy when I came. And I was, as a youngster, as teenager, I was always searching what is the meaning of life, what is important in life, how should I live my life? And I think many youngsters have these questions. And you don't need to talk too much, but for example, this, when they know about Elon Musk, I mean, it made immediately sense to me that Brahman is like the ocean, and we, the forms, are like the waves on an ocean, and Satchit Ananda, Rupa, Nama, those five are in all of us, in everything, not only in human beings. And Satchit Ananda is the essence. It's real, even though it's invisible. And I feel this knowledge makes sense. And you can also tell them that these Western scientists and philosophers, they were praising it to the sky, and now it has completely gone out of fashion, so as to say, because I feel it is dangerous, because it will free human beings. I mean, it will, they won't be easily controlled.
Can we give it to the lady in the front, please, right there? Yes, the ones, yes.
Hi, wonderful speakers. I really don't have a question, but I have a request with Nirmal Kaurji and Gayatri Devi ji to complete their dialogues, which we felt they had a lot to say, but could not be completed due to the time constraint. So I would request if we could get a few minutes from both these ladies. They had wonderful things to deliver to us.
Since there are multiple sessions going on at the same time, there's a really strict time schedule that we have to follow. If you want to know more thoughts, please catch them after the conference.
Truly.
Maybe we
Thanks.
can, there is a lady over there who wants to ask a question.
Hi, again, just sort of echoing what everyone said, really enjoyed all the talks. I was just wondering, what can we do to actively shape the perception of Hindu women in the media?
Louder, please.
What can we do to shape the perception of Hindu women in the media?
What can we do to shape perception of Hindu women?
Perception of women.
What can we do to shape perception of Hindu women in
The
media?
media.
The first thing is the Hindu women have to come out. We have been hiding behind our houses for a very long time. So many genocides. Did you hear any media, anybody talk about that? One hijab and the entire world starts dancing on our heads. When are we going to come out? That's the first thing. We are not going to hide behind the doors. We need to come out and talk. That will change the perception.
I think I would also...
I have a thing to add. You know, the way you show them in films, you know, the dramas, TV soaps. If you watch TV soaps, most of these Sasbahu types, they are demeaning to women. So how you show them in this media is also, I mean, in this other media also, like plays, which you watch for relaxation and which has a much more subliminal and more lasting and more, you know, much more powerful impact on the way you think.
Can I debate a bit and say, please switch off all the Ekta Kapoor serial. Every serial has the same story. The Saas is a bitch. The daughter-in-law is the one crying. The one who doesn't work is the one who is not working in the house. And staying in the house is the, you know, the goddess. The one who is working is again a abuser or a bitch or the manipulating. She has built narratives.
These stereotypes are very bad.
Right, going into our houses, and the women are eating popcorn, crying, and watching that. They are actually playing with our brains. Nothing else.
Filmon mein, even if a gunda is shown to be a Muslim, but he'll be very pious in real life, helping out women with their girls with their marriages. He'll be shown so pious. चाहे वो smuggling कर रहा है वहाँ पे बैठ के.
I think
So Ekta Kapoor, please, agar somebody knows people who are watching, please switch that off. If you really want to watch something, please go for different platforms that you find something positive.
And also, I think we need more content. People like Gayatri should create more content. Maybe, madam, you also create a lot of content for the internet, na? We need better content. We need more content creators.
I would like to add one small thing. So I'm a college student. And one thing that we have done extensively on all campuses is publish in our local journals and publish in our local college articles. That is very impactful. I cannot tell you how impactful it is. One of our universities, they were facing a lot of criticism in Hindu policy from the university itself. And since we had all of these articles published through the university already, it was very helpful. So as youth, I think that's very, very important.
Thank you.
Can we pass the mic over there, please? Thank you.
My question is for Nirmal Kaurji. We saw during Delhi riots that the reality was very different from how it was reported in newspapers. During your tenure, do you have any experience of such reportage where the reality was very different from how things were reported?
That is very true. The reality is very different, and how it is reported in the media and thus forms perception is very different. That is because they have their people everywhere. They have their people in the media. It's like, the Big Brother everywhere presence, I don't mean to scare you, but over the years, how we have developed our education system, how we brought in people into the bureaucracy, IAS, IPS, who are the people writing exam papers, JNU professors led by the band of Irfan Habib and Romila Thapar. Ye log kya kar rahe baith ke? And they are sitting on interview boards, they are getting their cronies to select candidates. Now, I am myself from the bureaucracy, so I know most of the bureaucracy is very leftist, because they are a product of a system which encouraged leftist thought. When Indira Gandhi or when the Congress came to power, before that Jawaharlal Nehru, though Patel won, still Jawaharlal Nehru, because he was the favorite of Gandhi, and Motilal Nehru was giving him all his expenses or whatever. For whatever reason, despite winning by such a big majority, Patel was not made the head of the Congress, and it was a given कि first Prime Minister वही होगा जो उस समय Congress का president रहा होगा. That was Jawaharlal Nehru. And he is brought in, he himself says, I'm a Hindu only by birth or whatever. Rest of the time I'm Muslim or Christian or English in my thought, and my food is Muslim. This is very, if it is a Hindu Rashtra, Hindu country, by birth, it was meant to be a Hindu country. Pakistan was meant to be a Muslim country. And what is the shame in admitting it? Now we say it with such, we feel so embarrassed. Oh, Muslims. They have to be protected. आपने यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड ले आए 50s में फॉर द हिंदूज. यू डिड नॉट डू एनीथिंग फॉर द मुस्लिम्स. ओहो, देयर फीलिंग्स विल बी हर्ट. वो कहाँ मतलब एकदम उनको किड ग्लव से दामाद की तरह ट्रीट कर रहे हो. अडवाणी जी हमेशा कहते थे, लाल कृष्ण अडवाणी जी, कि आपको रहना है मेरे देश में तो बेटा बन के रहो, दामाद बन के मेरे देश में नहीं रह सकते. बट दे ऑल वांट प्रिविलेजेस लाइक सन इन लॉ. सन इन लॉ भी अगर ज़्यादा रहेगा तो उसको काम करना ही पड़ेगा. वो तो कभी 5 साल में एक बार आता है. ही इज ऑनर्ड. अगर आपको लगातार कहीं पे रहना है, यू हैव टू डू ऑल योर ड्यूटीज एंड योर दिस थिंग. अभी तो एक और रैकेट है जो बिहार और झारखंड और उधर ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स में बहुत है, मदरसा बोर्ड्स. The children are going to madrasa, and the madrasa education, they called Fuqaniya boards, that is considered equivalent to the formal education. अब वो BPSC है, बिहार पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन. All the bureaucrats are coming. वो पेपर वही 4 लोग सेट करते हैं, उर्दू मीडियम होता है उनका, और वही उसमें सब टीचर्स मुस्लिम है. गवर्नमेंट इज इन अ स्मॉल डिस्ट्रिक्ट लाइक अररिया, 136 मदरसाज आर बीइंग फाइनेंस्ड बाय गवर्नमेंट. जितनी गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स है आपकी इन भारत में जितनी भी आयुष्मान से लेके आप, यू गेट द डाटा आउट. मतलब it is official, it is all Aadhaar related. 99% of the beneficiaries are Muslims. All the government schemes, they are nowhere in the tax system. 6 साल का बच्चा हाथ में रेंच पकड़ा दिया, पंक्चर लगा रहे हैं, वो पता नहीं क्या. Small kids you see if you go to get your cars repaired in Bharat. पंक्चर लगा रहे हैं, वो रेंच पकड़ के बैठे हैं. They are not in the formal economy, they are not in the formal system, they are nowhere, and they are beneficiary of all the schemes. और इतना demographic change आ गया है ना कि वो कहते हैं जिसकी जितनी संख्या भारी है उसकी इतनी हिस्सेदारी. मतलब they are using democracy to take away your democracy. I said, they are using our democracy to whittle, to take away our democracy by introducing this demographic change. The illegal migrants are coming from Rohingya, Bangladesh, and then their birth rate is so high. The complexion of the population has changed so much. The demographic changes have been so, especially in the border areas. In a district like Araria, 30 years ago, I was SDPO there, they were hardly 9% Muslims. Now today they are officially 69% Muslims. 69% in 30 years. From 9% to 69%. Demographic changes because every citizen gets 1 vote, regardless of what he is. Whether you're illiterate, whether you are all the time abusing your country, whether you're going abroad and saying, oh, introduce economic sanctions against my country, even then you're entitled to vote here. You can do anything. You can take away the security of the nation. And these myopic politics, you know, they see only short-sighted. Illegal immigrants, for them, are votes. They start from Bangladesh. Before starting, they have an Aadhaar card. They have a ration card. How is that happening? Because the politicians are helping them to introduce the demographic changes. And at this rate, see what is happening in France, what is happening in Europe. France is burning. If anybody from France or France has been following, Netherlands, what has been happening?
I think for the interest of time, can you?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry, Nirmalji.
No, because he wanted, I just want to say that the demographic changes bring in a lot of unrest and a lot of, you know, change in our culture, change in the way we live in our civic life, in our, you know, the life, day-to-day life of a community.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can end questions here because on the interest of time, we have to move forward. Yeah, I think we can find the speakers afterwards because there's a strict time schedule that we're following. I know, like, there's always a lot of questions and everybody wants to interact and talk so much, but we have limited time, unfortunately. So I just want to thank you all three speakers for coming here and presenting. It has been very interactive. Thank you for the audience. Today, we stand at the crossroads of history, recognizing the seismic impact of opinions, beliefs, and emotions on the very fabric of our existence. In the echoes of time, media has been a double-edged sword, transmitting narratives that either empower or diminish. And yet, in this vast landscape, the Hindu narrative often echoes in the background. And so the absence of our voices results in the distorted perception of our culture, beliefs, and reality. It is not merely an option, but an imperative that we seize control of the narratives. So with that, I would like to conclude this session, and thank you all the speakers. Lastly, final announcement, 2 p.m. we will resume the session after lunch. Thank you.